During a time when the Soviet Union may enjoy nuclear superiority over this country, we must never waver in our commitment to our allies, nor accept any negotiation which is not clearly in the national interest.
With a deep awareness of the responsibility conferred by your trust, I accept your nomination for the presidency of the United States.
In 1980, on his second try for the presidency, Reagan won his party's nomination.
Governor Ronald Reagan and Mrs. Nancy Reagan.
In the campaign of 1980, he stood alone on a great many issues. And he told the American people basically where he stood.
As the 1980 election neared, the ongoing hostage crisis in Iran only reinforced America's perceived weakness overseas.
We must ask ourselves, is America more secure? Are we more confident of peace in the world than we were just 4 years ago?
The voters embraced Reagan's message of peace through strength. And on November 4th, 1980, Ronald Reagan was swept into office.
You know, Abe Lincoln, the day after his election to the presidency, he said, "Your troubles are over now. Mine have just begun."
After the election, Nixon was happy to come in and say to Reagan, you know, all of those things you've been talking about were interesting, but we really have to get back to dealing with these people in a realistic way.
We did need to have a much stronger position vis-a-vis the Soviet Union because they were relentlessly building an awesome military machine, and it did have a real effect on not only the military balance, but on the psychological balance with allies in Europe and around the globe.
The day after his inauguration, Ronald Reagan makes his foreign policy clear. In his first press conference as president, he makes his case for confronting rather than appeasing the Soviets.
Mr. President, what do you see as the long-range intentions of the Soviet Union? Do you think, for instance, the Kremlin is bent on world domination that might lead to a continuation of the Cold War? Or do you think that under other circumstances, détente is possible?
Well, so far, détente's been a one-way street that the Soviet Union has used to pursue its own aims. The only morality they recognize is what will further their cause, meaning they reserve unto themselves the right to commit any crime, to lie, to cheat, in order to attain that, and that is moral, not immoral. And we operate on a different set of standards.
And everybody said, oh my God, this is great stuff for a radio announcer or a political speaker, but for a new president, this is just astonishing.
Oh, I don't think there's any question that early on Reagan wanted the Soviets to know by both what he was saying and in other actions that this was a new era and somebody who had firm beliefs and was not going to back down.